Hello, both of you, Mark and Heidi. It's wonderful to have you here. My name is Janice Whitlock, and I'm a senior advisor with the JED Foundation. As I know you know, the JED Foundation works to protect emotional health and to prevent suicide for teens and young adults. So we're really, really grateful to have you here to talk about what I know is a really important and salient topic, youth and social media and youth. And you guys know a lot about parenting in this environment with social media and youth. I know you know more than just a little bit about this. So I wanted to just kind of kick us off by asking you about something that I personally struggled with, which is, one of the challenges that I've faced as a parent is knowing when kids are ready to use social media and then how to provide guidance along the way, especially as they've aged and I've had less control. So I'm wondering if you can talk to us a little bit about when you decided that Dixie and Charlie were ready to use social media, and then like what kinds of conversations did you have, and especially as they became more active.
Janice, there's who you were telling us about right
Yeah,
there.
sorry.
We have dogs, so it's all cool. I do think it's different from when Dixie and Charlie started social media. It was more. Heidi's family lives in Louisiana, so it was more a vehicle for them to kind of keep in touch with us. I do think that if it was today, we might not. We started them pretty early on it, and it was basically we gave them the ground rules of, hey, you have a personal brand out there. You're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Everyone does, and you're going to potentially have your mistakes seen by. We didn't think it would be the entire United States of America and the world. We thought it'd be, your mistakes will be seen, and by a lot of people, and the internet is unforgiving. And we set the ground rules of telling them you have a personal brand, and we're going to teach you right from wrong, and hopefully you'll make the right decisions. And if you screw up, that we're here to support us and support you, and that's it. And so we didn't really have. I know I used to hear a lot of parents that would say, "Oh, there's a certain age that we feel that's the age they can get a phone," and we didn't think that way, and we were more felt that they were mature enough to handle it. And I don't remember the exact age, but it was pretty young.
Yeah. And what were the maturity markers? I'm curious, like what were you looking for? What would you advise parents to look for?
I know for our girls, Dixie was just in my friend group with the other moms at school, would come home and share a lot with me about her day. And parents would be like, could you ask Dixie what happened at lunch? I heard there was some action at lunch, and and she would share a lot. And so being that kid that I knew shared a lot, good, bad, and ugly, I felt that if something were off or something happened on social media, I felt that she would share. And then for Charlie, she wasn't as into it. I remember that she had a phone and she had social media, but she didn't really use it. Dixie was a little bit older and used Snapchat to make plans with her friends on the weekend. And so Charlie was kind of in a spot, maybe sixth grade, that she was having trouble like making plans with friends. And Dixie was like, why don't you use Snapchat? Like, that's how I get people together, and you can kind of do it like that. And then start streaks. So that made her feel a little bit more included in the friend group. And because she was at dance so much, she didn't have a lot of outside time. And so that kind of made her felt part of her school group. And so I feel like it was very individual to each girl. So
yeah, and I think it wasn't social media that we gave them early. I think we gave them technology early. Mm-hmm. So I knew that I was not a great typer, and I was like, you kids are getting computers and you're learning how to type because I'm terrible. So I remember getting the Mac computer. So what Charlie would do more than be on social media is just do fun videos, and she would be in her room. And I do think that was, people always say, oh, what is it about, why did she blow up on TikTok? She definitely learned how to do facial expressions and look in the mirror and
Camera.
look in the camera. And then but we bought them computers at a young age, and then I think it was mostly just Instagram and Snapchat. Right?
Yeah, and on their computer, really, I mean, they would use it for school stuff and reports and things like that. But it was their what is it? The
video recorder where
yeah, but it's called something. I can't even think of it. But they'd have so many videos of themselves doing these little dances and things in their room, and I'm like, this was TikTok before TikTok was a thing, and they were young, and so they would do nothing with them. They would not post them. They wouldn't share them. It was just for fun. So
I remember doing that as a kid, although we didn't have camera or we didn't have video recorders, remember? I'm sure we all had. Well, so now that you do, I mean, once at some point, your children clearly became active and highly followed on social media. And I'm wondering how you think being in the public eye makes their social media experience different than kids who perhaps aren't in the public eye so much.
I probably have a viewpoint that's different than most people. I think that I think it's harder when someone gives you negativity in your hometown, in your home school, whereas we can always sit there and say to, if there's a comment for Dixie and Charlie and you look and it's no one they know, it's not even a real first and last name, it's just some username, and they happen to just say something negative, and it gets some response to it. That to me is, we've been able to just say, Dix, it could be a 9-year-old, it could be someone in the, we can take away the credibility of that. But when it's someone in your high school that that you have to walk down the hallway, or someone in your middle school that you have to walk, I think I'd have them answer the question, but for me, it would be harder to have someone dislike me or talk negatively about me in my hometown, one person that is in my friend group. So I think it's harder for kids that don't have notoriety to deal with the negativity in some ways.
That's interesting, right? It makes perfect sense in a way, because you can sort of help them understand the larger context in a way that might be different.
And I also think, and look, we've had a lot of nights where comments you saw it on the show where that was 100% real, where there was just a coincidence that the cameras happened to be rolling in the house. They're rolling for something else, and Dixie came in and you saw that. But I do think I look at it as a silver lining. I do think there's a part now where they are a little bit more secure, and their skin is a little bit thicker, and that's where there's a part where I got some heat where I was like, it's going to get better, which I just meant, like, I have the life experience and I've been in those situations, and you're going to look back on this as being just a part of your life, and it's not going to hurt as much down the road. But they're definitely, if you see them now and talk with them now, they're just in 6 months to a year, they're totally different on how they handle things. And I think it's sometimes going through that process of looking inward and dealing with the negativity and finding, and I'm not saying it works for everybody, but finding that point in your life and going, all right, that's obviously not true. I know about myself, and I think they're stronger now than they've ever been.
And to that, I think that's just an ongoing conversation whenever they do have their lows of, you're not going to feel like this forever. And I think for kids who don't have life experience, feel like when they're going through it, they're never going to have a happy day again, and even, Charlie has said sometimes I feel like I don't remember, all the good times whenever I'm going through it, or whenever I'm so happy, I don't remember ever being sad. So, I think that's developmental. I think that's maturity, and she'll learn as she gets older, and she'll be like, I've had millions of sad times that I got through. And, and I think that's one thing they're learning. And I think that's just kids in general, is that, and just being there to remind them, like, you're growing, like you have to be gentle with yourself sometimes, and it's okay to feel all those things, sad and frustrated and mad and angry, but you're going to be happy and find the silver lining and all the goodness that this life, like, it's great that we're alive. Like, that's a good thing. And all the blessings with all of that, everything that's happened, and to have a platform, I think that's the key, is just reminding them things do always get better.
I love that perspective. And it's so true because, I think the advice you give is so right. We all have to learn that. And it seems like adolescence really is a time where it really can feel very catastrophic. But there is something kind of interestingly different, right, than when we were probably growing up as kids, where it's not like your bad days were seen by millions of people, or commented on by millions of people. So I wonder, and I've heard you guys talk a little bit about this, but I wonder if you can speak to how you think social media in particular has affected their mental health and well-being.
So there's a part in the show where I'm just saying, like, you guys, kids are really well-mannered. And it was just kind of me giving them a compliment about how they're cool to hang out with. And he said something that was super enlightening to me. He's like, it got to the conversation of that every step they make, they look at it from a way of how this third person is going to, or this eye of the internet is going to look at it. And you think about when we were younger, you kind of maybe wear a shirt that was, you went and shopped and you bought a shirt and you wore it to school and a couple of kids made fun of you, and the shirt goes in the closet and you never wear it again. And all right, well, I'm not doing that again.
Right.
They could make a mistake that could make national news. They could wear something that could make national news. And that is 100% something that I don't think anyone has experienced the way these kids experience it. And to have that self-doubt and have to think about what you say, what you wear, everything is tough. And I think we don't know the ramifications of what are going to happen with this. Maybe we're going to make a bunch of really strong kids out of this, and people who kind of just get real comfortable in their own skin, or maybe we're going to have an epidemic of mental illness because no one can handle all this. And it's very interesting.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And how have you managed that with the girls? Because I know, you, in addition to just the standard normal stuff that parents trying to parent in this particular age have, you have it in spades. So are there ways that you've helped them to really cope with some of the things that have happened that have been so big and public for them that wouldn't have been if they had been growing up when we were?
I feel like we just remind them that they're at an age, like everyone that's come before them at that age, those teenage years, where you're learning and you are making mistakes. And the problem is, in the internet's eyes, you're not allowed to make mistakes. And so we remind them that that's okay. Everybody messes up, but that's what we're here for, to guide you through that as parents, for you to have your own self-realizations of like, oh, I messed up. I wasn't a good friend, or I whatever it is, to remind them that it's okay to make mistakes. And that being said, they still have that thing where they don't want to make those mistakes online because it is so public. So when and if it happens, and sometimes it's not mistakes, it's just normal stuff that other people view as, well, that's not how I do it, so that's wrong. And I don't agree with that on any level, whether it's in your hometown or on when you have a big platform on social media. It's, as long as you're happy and confident in what you're doing and you're not hurting anyone and you're not doing anything illegal, live your life. And I think that's the bigger thing, is just reminding them that it's okay to just be, as long as you're not hurting anyone or anything like that.
Yeah, it's a tough balance, because I think what parents do often is just like, because we're in it, I think we look at it from a different perspective. And I see the parents are like, oh, what do you care about what that person is saying? And we have to say that in a way, but we all have to be, but we're cognizant of the fact that it is tough. So sometimes like if you catch me on one day, it's like, come on, Charlie, you got to pull yourself up, man. This is, this is what you want. This is what they want to do. I think what people have a misconception, like they packed us up and said, I know it sounds funny and we're the parents, but
Yeah.
they were like, hey, we want to go to California. And I have an office in New York City. During the pandemic, it was shut. I couldn't do my job. I'm in sales and for a clothing company, and I can do my job from anywhere. So was their thing. And I want them to, sometimes we have to know when to push a little bit and be parents and say, hey, this is an incredible opportunity for you to do whatever you want to do and help a tremendous amount of people. And you've been given this for whatever reason. We have no idea why you've been given this platform. But then there's also a time where we just have to say, here's a shoulder, you cry away, and we'll fight tomorrow. We'll fight another day tomorrow. And that's kind of what we do. And there's no roadmap. I mean, no one's done this.
And that's just, that's not because they have a lot of followers. I think as any parent, just finding that balance, whether it's to go to school. There's, we've had situations when the girls were younger and they had such bad anxiety, they didn't want to go to school. And when do you push? And when do you just, let's just hug it out and we're going to figure it out tomorrow. So we don't really have the answers.
Yeah, and we definitely got some heat. And I think looking at it from an outsider, it's like when you see Dixie like that or Charlie, you're like, why aren't the parents just pulling the phone away? And I do think Heidi said something to me and equated it to sports. Like if you have an athlete that is going through a slump, you don't just take it. I think we would have done them a disservice if we would have just said, hey, we can't deal with this. We don't know how to deal with this. But we put people around us and we had professionals around us, and we have these checkups all the time. When I would say we probably do it. We used to do it once every couple of days. We're like, all right, is everybody happy? Are you guys, do you still want to do this? And I think there's a point at the end where the show kind of shows it, but where both girls are like, look, we're not going, this is an incredible opportunity, not a financial opportunity. It's incredible opportunity to do amazing things in, whether it's socially, whether it's business, whether it's helping other people, whether like what Oprah did with Dr. Phil. We could bring a lot of people up with us, shine light on a lot of really, really important topics. And I don't think either girl wants the noise to get in the way of what they could be doing. And it's not about the money or the opportunity or their fame. It's just not letting other people dictate your life to you. I always tell my kids, someone told me, run your own offense, make sure you're in charge of your life, and and sometimes when the noise makes them do something that they wouldn't normally do, I'm like, you're letting other people run your life. You got to run your own life. So.
Wow. Yeah, that's so powerful. And you guys have provided such great frames for them to sort of live and grow in.
Yeah, but we have no idea what we're doing.
No.
So we're
I know. I feel like I really heard you when you said we're experimental generation. I mean, us as parents and them as young people, I think hopefully we'll have learned a lot of lessons and not done too much damage along the way, but I know we're all working it out. I do have one more question. How well do you think your kids balance their own social media use? And are there strategies that they use or that you have helped them to use, in terms of like when to decide to put it down and when they need to do something different? Or
so I would say Dixie is the toughest. She's an adult, so she's 20 years old, and so it's kind of like we're in a consulting phase more as parents at this point. She goes to her own home that she pays for and all that. So but she'll say like, oh, I just couldn't put it down. I was up so late. And I'm like, Dixie, you have so many great things going on in your life. Like, switch your focus. But she's like, I'm doing market research.
And yeah, we do. I mean,
Oh, it's hard.
Apple
No.
has that thing with screen time, and it's more joking, but it gets the message across. I'm like, come on, let me see your phone. What's your screen time? And then she will say, I'm doing market research. But then I think every parent deals with that. Sometimes we're doing something really cool, and I'm like, Dixie, you're here in this event, or we're in Europe, and and they're on their phones. I'm like, look out the window. It's like, this is amazing. And she's like, what? Huh?
Wait.
And then they go like this.
In their defense, I will say, because they were all on their phones, and the whole trip, they documented their whole trip in real time.
Right.
Neither one of us has posted hardly anything. And people were like, hey, like your mom was like, hey, I want to see more pictures from your trip. I'm like, yeah, because we weren't on our phone, we were enjoying. And now they're done. Like they did their stuff that,
Right.
so I don't know, but it's tough. Charlie is, she finds other things, like she has a lot of other little things that she likes to do. She likes to watch movies and do other things. So she's kind of often on her phone. Dixie likes to see it all.
But it's their entertainment. It's where we might on a Saturday sit and watch TV for a while, which they're actually like scrolling through Twitter. Then they'll go to news articles, then they'll go to videos,
and
then
they watch their movies there.
And they watch their movies there. So I don't know. I'm sure years from now we'll find out whether it was detrimental or not. But I think as a parent, to see your kid just sitting there gazing into a phone for 5 hours, I'm like, put your phone down.
But I also feel like they know this about themselves, and they do get like, oh, I'm so annoying to myself that I do this. But I will say, Charlie had arranged a girls' night the other night. It was Dixie and a group of girls. And when I tell you, they had ordered pizza, they sat down, they had dinner, they laughed, they danced around, they did some TikToks. Not one of them was like over there scrolling on social media. They were very much in it. They were great conversation. Not that I was like, tidying up or whatever. But there was like a lot of really good conversations, not even about social media. And it was really, I kind of almost like enforced like, okay, they are good. They do know how to do this. They do know how to socialize and have dinner together and do all the things. So I think it's just this generation, and it's part of life is the internet. So
Awesome. And that is such a great note to end this on, that you've given us so much to work with. And thank you so much, both of you, for talking with us today. If there's any other takeaways you'd love for, parents watching this to take away, let us know.
I feel like we covered a lot.
Yeah, I think that's, we've said all we know, which isn't much.
Did all that in about 20 minutes.
Janice, thank you so much. We
Yeah.
appreciate
It's so
Jen.
nice
We
to
appreciate
meet you.
everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.